Hello, hello. It is Erica with Redheaded Princess Designs and Holy Rustic. And today I want to show you how to do your interchangeable porch leaner. So I have my board here so that we can do our interchangeable porch leaner for Easter. So give your porch a refresh for Easter. Come hang out with me while we work on this. This board is the board that I use for my porch leaner. I actually had one on here and it blew over in the wind and the frame piece fell off. So we're just going to do it on the back. So this board is 7.5. I think it's labeled as an 8-inch board in the store when you go buy it. You can buy like 8 inches across. It's an 8 by 1 inch thick. And they sell them in like 8, usually like 6, 8, and maybe even 10 foot. I think this was a 6-foot board, and I have it cut down to 4 inches, and then I just stained it. You can grab these at any of your like Home Depot, Lowe's, any of your home stores. You can grab one of these boards. We do not sell the boards with our kits just because this would be a lot to have to ship to you, and you can grab it pretty easily at your store, and a lot of times they'll even cut it down for you in the store. If you don't have the tools to do that at home, you get them to cut it for you, and then that way you'd have it. So that's my board. Inside of your kit, let me switch. Well, no, we'll stay like this for just a second. I have 2 kits here. I have our Happy Easter Bunny interchangeables, and then I have the base kit for my board. So your base kit includes the little pieces that go at the top and the bottom of the board, and it includes the frames that you're going to glue to the board so that your interchangeable signs can pop in and out. So that's what we've got going on. I'm going to switch these guys around. There we go. So you can see what we're working on. Come in, say hey, let me know how your Friday is going. The weather around here has been bananas, my friends. We spent a good 2 to 3 hours in the basement on Wednesday night / Thursday morning for tornadoes. Luckily, we did not get any tornadoes here, and we don't have hardly any damage, so that's very thankful for that. But I was exhausted yesterday, and then we had a class last night out at Forest Edge Winery. We did jockey silks for Derby. So we did that yesterday. And then last night, the weather radio kept going off all night because of flash floods. They called a 2-hour delay for school. And there's water everywhere. Everywhere, my friends. We had to go the long way to school today because one of the roads by our house is closed because of flooding. And traffic is just bananas out there. So yeah, that's how my Friday's going. I hope you're having a good Friday. All right, I'm going to grab some tan. We're just going to base coat these guys in tan. These are the little pieces that the interchangeables are going to go on. I know so many of you get this porch leaner kit and you're not quite sure how to assemble it. So since mine needed a refresh from where it got broken, I thought I would just show you. And then this will live on our YouTube channel for you to pull up anytime you need. I absolutely love the interchangeable porch leaner because I do enjoy having a porch leaner outside, but I don't want to have 20 of them for all the different holidays. That's a really, I would not have 20, but I don't even want to have 4. Okay, if I was going to switch it out for the seasons. So this makes it nice because then you just have the pieces, and those are a little bit easier to store rather than a huge board. So I'm just base coating these in the brown. And we'll get these glued down so you can see what they're going to look like. So these are the pieces that come in the base kit. When you go to our website and you look at the porch leaners, there's a couple of different ways to purchase it. You can purchase just a base kit. You can purchase a base kit with an insert, and we have inserts for all the holidays and seasons, and we're always adding new ones. So you can do just a base kit and insert, or you can do base kit, or you can do just an insert. So there's 3 options there. And hopefully I said all of those correctly. But those are your choices. And you could do your porch cleaner in a different color if you want. I like the brown on our porch, but you could do a white porch cleaner. You could do a black, like whatever. I don't think there would be any wrong color. You know, neutrals, so that they go with all of your kits. But a lot of the pictures have of our examples on the website have a white one. I do not like the white because I know it's going to look dirty after a while. And so I don't want that. So I like the brown. And I like the darker wood stain, so that's what's on my board there. So I just grabbed a can of stain. If you're going to stain your board rather than painting it, just make sure you stain it a couple of days ahead of time and let the stain dry really well before you glue these pieces on, because a lot of times if that stain is not completely dry and hasn't had a chance to like set into the wood, the oils in it will not allow the glue to adhere as well. I apologize. My allergies are driving me crazy this morning. I don't know why. All right, and then we have our frames. So we're just going to paint this guy up too. Should use a sponge, but we're just going to go with this, and I don't want that ugly brown color. Let's rinse that off. Let's grab just the tan. Okay, there we go. I don't need to paint both of my frames. I only need to paint one. We're going to glue them together to create like a double frame, so that when we put the interchangeable piece in and out, it has somewhere to set inside. And then just as a reminder, if you're expecting bad weather, like we have for the past week around here, you always want to bring your porch cleaner inside, especially if you're going to get high winds. Because a lot of times the wind will knock it over and your pieces will break. And that is sad. So make sure you bring them in. That includes those door hangers too. If you've got door hangers on your door and you don't have a storm door in between your main door and your door hanger, like if your door hanger is just hanging out on your door out in the wind, I always try to bring it in during the windy days, because it'll be blowing everywhere and it might fall off and break, or it might hit the glass on your door or whatever. So bring those in when the weather gets bad. All right. If you're here, say hey. Let me know how your Friday is going. Let me know if you've experienced any bad weather in your area lately. I'm hoping that everybody is safe. I put a post out yesterday asking everybody to just kind of check in. I know we have friends everywhere and flooding is really bad right now. So hopefully everybody is staying safe. As a reminder, earlier this week, we launched our brand new DIY craft kit of the month club box. So it's a brand new box. It is a subscription. It is $30 a month right now. The price is going to go up. So this is the lowest price you can get. So if you're interested, get in now, because as long as you stay in the club, your price will not go up. If you leave and you come back, then you'll have to pay whatever price it is at that point in time. But as long as you're in the club, your price will not go up. So $30 is a great deal. You're going to get one DIY kit each month, along with an instruction sheet that has step-by-step instructions and an instruction video. So no matter how you like to get instructions, whether you want to sit here and watch me chit-chat with you and do the project, or you want to just read and do the project that way, you get both. It's great for those people who really love having the step-by-step instructions. So there is that. You're also going to get a 20% off coupon to use on anything in our store every single month. So it's a fabulous, fabulous deal. And it's going to be delivered right to your door. You're going to get all your glue and your paint, any tools that you might need, like sponge dabbers or special paint brushes or things like that. We're going to include those in that box too. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. I hope so. So go check that out, because it is a great deal. And like I said, that price is going to go up. So this is the lowest price that it will ever be. So now is the time to join. So many of you have already joined that box, and I am so excited to put it together for you and get you guys your first box in the mail. They'll start shipping out on the 15th, just like our tiered tray clubs and our wagon clubs do. And then your payment will draft based on whatever date you sign up. So if you sign up on the 3rd, next month, your payment will come on the 3rd. And you can cancel at any time. There's no commitment. All right, I just glued the black circles to these pieces that we painted right where the etched lines are. And remember, with the E6000, it is not a quick dry glue. So we need to let those lay flat for 24 hours before we go set this up. In about 20 minutes, it's going to seem like it's set, but it is not. So do not be confused. Let it lay flat for 24 hours. I'm going to glue my 2 frames together. The important thing to know about these frames is they are not symmetrical. Okay, there is a right side and a wrong side, and although they do look symmetrical, they're not. So this is the piece that's going to go in and out of them. So just be sure that when you glue them together, that you get them lined up correctly and that there's not, you'll know. It's pretty easy to tell. I'll show you. If I glued them incorrectly and I tried to line them up, see how they do not line up right there on the edge? I know it's hard to see. Let's see. How can I adjust that? So there we go. See that little bit of edge that's sticking out? So they're not symmetrical. So make sure that you line them up so they are symmetrical. And then I always, anytime you're getting a new interchangeable for this porch cleaner, before you go painting and gluing everything, just try to check your base piece here and see which side is up and which side is down so that you don't glue your pieces on backwards. I may or may not have done that once or twice. So I'm just going to mark this. I'm going to mark it on the back. I must say, put a little arrow. So I know this is the way that's up. This is my top. Okay. So just double check that because this piece will not fit like this. See what I'm saying? It's not going to sit down in there. So it looks very symmetrical, but it is not. I do not know why it's designed that way. It just is, but that's how it should go. Okay. All right. So I glued my 2 frames together. I have a little sandwich of frames there. And then these pieces are going to get glued together. We're going to glue this on the board. It does not need to be painted. We're going to glue this piece down. And then we're going to glue this top piece on top, lining it up at the bottom. And I'm going to show you what it's going to look like on the back. So on the back, it's going to look like this. So when this is up, this is going to go against your board. And you're going to have this little shelf here that you can slide the interchangeable pieces in and out of. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Let's grab our board, and I'm going to show you how to glue these on. It's going to be hard because the board is big. We're going to try to do this. All right. See if I can find a way to set this down. Here, there we go. Okay, so this is the top of my board. I want to put one of these ledge pieces at the top and one towards the bottom. I'm leaving enough room that my interchangeable piece can slide in and out. The top interchangeable piece is always a little bit shorter, and the bottom one is usually a little bit longer, okay? And then the frame is going to go kind of here in the middle, and you can space them out however you want. If you have the 8-inch wide board like I do, your frame, I'm really trying to figure out how to get this in here. Okay, there we go. Your frame is going to stick over just a little bit. See, I have like 1/8 of an inch on each side of my board. I like it like that because it gives me room if I need to kind of poke something up inside of there and pop that interchangeable piece out. Okay. So we're going to put glue on the back of this piece. This is the base for our shelf. And I'm just going to glue it down. And these pieces fit really nice on the 8-inch board. Anytime you do wood, you're not getting, I don't need to add glue that far up. I need to focus. Anytime you get wood, you're not going to get a true measurement across. It's just the way that lumber works. It's a little weird, but that's how it works. Okay, I put glue way too far up on this because this piece does not completely cover this piece. So instead of putting glue on the back of this, I'm going to put my glue right here. And I always say you need just a dot of glue on these of the E6000. I might put a smidge extra glue on these pieces because I know they're going to be in the elements and I want to be sure that they're really stuck well. All right, and then I'm lining up that base the edges and I'm pushing that down. And if we look, I have a tiny ledge right here at the top where my pieces can slide in and out. So that's where I'm going to put that one. Excuse me. I'm going to glue my frame on over here. The other reason why I would put maybe just a little bit extra of the E6000 on these pieces is if your board has been freshly stained, like I said, sometimes the glue has a hard time adhering to the stain. So just be aware of that. This one has been stained for a long time, so I don't have that issue, but just know, oh, and I need to double check and make sure I put this on the right direction, which I did. Fabulous. Now I'm going to get that back out. So see what I'm saying? I can just pop my scissors underneath here and pull that out. Okay, it's on the right way. Make sure we're fairly straight. Looks pretty good. Let's flip this board around. There we go. And I want to leave, so here's the top, here's the bottom of my frame. You can see that just barely in the camera there. And I want to leave a decent amount of space here because some of these pieces are taller, like the bunny and the rain boot insert and stuff. They can be a little taller, the bottom insert. So just make sure you leave yourself enough room there. We can even pull our little bunny over here just to look and see and make sure we're good. I think that should be a good space there. So I'm not all the way at the bottom of my board. I don't like it to be all the way on the ground because this is probably going to get like some water and stuff on it just from rain. So I don't want it to be all the way at the ground. That's just my personal preference. All right, we're going to glue this piece down. And you know what? I'm even going to throw, just so that we can look at it better, I'm going to put a little bit of my stick fast glue on here as well so that this will dry while we're hanging out and I can show you guys how the pieces come in and out. All right, so we're going to go right here. And then, so I'm using both glues, but you wouldn't need to do that if you are willing to let it lay flat for 24 hours. This is just going to give us a little extra glue and make sure that it sticks right now so that we can look at it easier. Maybe. I think I might need a new bottle of this. So if you're curious, this is a stick fast instant adhesive. It's kind of like a super glue, but it works really well when you want to be able to like set up whatever you have right away. All right, so there's that. It's not super quick drying like super glue. Sometimes when you put it on and you stick something, like it's stuck forever and ever, never coming off. This does have just a small dry time, but it's not as long as the E6000. I'd say within 5 minutes, it's not going anywhere. And it works really well with the wood stuff. Sometimes some of your super glues don't work as well. This does. You just have to be careful not to get it on your fingers. Okay, I'm gluing down my frame again. And I'm going to put a little bit on the back of this piece as well, just so that when I get done with the interchangeables, I can show you guys how they're going to pop in and out. Because that's kind of like the whole purpose of the video, right? To be able to really show you how it's going to work. And I don't like just being able to tell you. I got to take these back apart. There we go. So we have double glue. We have E6000 and we have stick fast. Come on. I know you got just a little bit left. I'm going to need to get on Amazon and order some more of this. Okay. There we go. Give that just a second. See how this one's already, I mean, it's on there. It's not going anywhere. Give that just a minute. I just want to be sure it's not going to move on me. And there we go. So let's switch the camera around one more time. There we go. All right, so here's what we've got. This is our board. It's a 4-foot board. I have one shelf here, my frame, and then another shelf here. We're going to set that back here. You guys keep an eye on it. Make sure my pieces aren't sliding around. And we're going to move back here. And we've got our Easter inserts. All right. I'm going to double check this one more time. Yep, that's going to work perfectly. Okay. So this is our Easter porch cleaner insert. We have a couple different Easter ones. This one's kind of like a floral bunny. Need that piece. All right. I'm going to flip over and look at my picture real quick. Okay, and let's move our paint back here. Whoops. Okie dokie. We're going to start with our bunny piece. So if you look, what I was talking about, the top and the bottom pieces, they have a little ledge here. Each one of them will. And this is the piece that slides in and out where we just created that ledge. Okay, so you have a top piece and a bottom piece. Usually the top piece is the shorter piece. The bottom piece is the longer piece. See, Mr. Bunny has a little ledge down here. And then you have a insert for the frames that's going to pop in and out of the middle. Okay, let's start with Mr. Bunny. I am going to do him in, I think I want him to be kind of a light brown. I don't want him to be too brown because my board is brown. Maybe we'll do kind of an antique white color. Oh yeah, that's a good color. All right, and his little face is 3D, so we don't have to worry about that as much. You do want to be careful on these pieces. If you get a bunch of paint down here on the ledge, there is a good chance that you may have a hard time sliding that in and out. But you can always, if you do get too much paint down there, you can always take a piece of sandpaper and just sand it a little bit to get it to slide in and out easier. I'm going to throw just a little thin coat down there just so that I know that it will fit. And I'm going to add just a touch of brown to this. All right, so the face is 3D, so we don't have to worry about that. If you're here, say hey. Let me know how your Friday's going. We're going to do his little ears. He's got some etched lines here that look like leaves, and I'm just going to go over those with my brush. As long as I'm not pushing a ton of paint into them, we'll still be able to see them, and so I'm okay with that. I'm going to bring just a little bit more brown on this side of him. And I think I'll pick up a tiny, didn't we have white paint earlier? Maybe we didn't have white yet. That white's dry, that's not going to work. I'm going to bring just a tiny bit of the bright white kind of in the middle here where his belly is. Just kind of brighten that up. So we've got darker on the sides and a little bit lighter in the middle. Okay. I just don't want to get him too brown because I do want him to pop against that board. There we go. That looks good. And I'm gonna pull just a little bit of that bright white up here on his ears as well. He looks good. All right. Now we're going to make the middles of his ears pink. So let's just grab a little bit of a coral pink color. There we go. And we'll go ahead and do his ears. I don't want them to be a super bright pink because he is such a soft color. So we're going with a little bit lighter color. I think that's perfect. All right, we're going to do this one over here. There's a little etched line there that shows you where the inside of the ears is, and I'm just following that with my brush and then pulling that pink over. Okay, and I picked up the tiniest bit of white, and down the middle of that pink part, I'm putting just a little bit of white when I'm cleaning off my brush so I don't have any more paint on it, and just kind of pulling my brush back and forth across that. So I just have this soft little highlight in his ears. All right, here's this little bunny face. So it's going to go right there. So I just kind of double checked to make sure I had painted up and down far enough, which it looks like we did. So I've got his little face. Let's look at that real quick. Okay, I do want to be sure not to push a bunch of paint into where his eyes and his nose are because I don't want to have to go back over those very much. So I'm going to do his face with my sponge. I'm going to load it with a little bit of my antique white and a little bit of my brown. And I'm going to keep the brown toward the outside edge of his face and the antique white towards the inside of his face. That's my goal. We'll see how well it goes. And when you do your sponge, we're just tapping up and down. We're not necessarily pushing with the sponge. We're tapping. And you'll notice I'm going around the edge here. And I'm going to load my brown on one side and my antique white on the other. And then just tapping all the way around. I am going over the eyes and stuff, but because I'm using my sponge, they're still really visible and they're going to show up. And then I'm just going to kind of come into the middle. I know that some of that's going to have a little bit of brown, but I'm still going to have the brighter color towards the middle of his face, and my edges are going to be darker. It's just going to give us a little bit more dimension around his little bunny face. Okay. And just making sure my lines are blended a little bit so they're not, we don't have this harsh transition line between our colors, and coming right around. All right, so see how we have dark around the edges and nice bright white in the middle, and we can still see all of our edge lines. That is perfect. That's exactly what I want. Okay, let's see. He's got little black eyes with a white dot and a little black nose. So we'll just go ahead and do that with our tiny brush. Pick up a little bit of our black and come in and do his nose. Because I used the sponge, I can still see his the lines for his mouth and his whiskers really, really well. So now I don't have to go back over them with my paintbrush and make them too thick or get them all wonky. That's what I love about using the sponge to paint with. It really does save you from having to try to touch stuff up and it looking kind of crazy. We're going to do his little eyes. And this is where a nice little thin brush will really come in handy. So you can do all these little details. There we go. And then we need to put the dots in his eyes. I think that's what really brings, when you're painting animals and stuff, that's what brings them to life. So let's try this real quick. Okay, and we're gonna do, I do an upside down snowman. Anytime I put dots in animals' eyes, I always say it's an upside down snowman. So it's a bigger dot on top and a tinier dot underneath. So 1 dot, 2 dots. 1 dot, 2 dots. Okay, and I'll show you up close. See how we have dots, 2 dots. A bigger dot on top and a smaller dot on the bottom. So there's his little eyes. And that piece is just going to get glued right here. We'll go ahead and glue that down. And if we can pull enough of this stick fast glue out, we're going to use a little bit of it too. Maybe. All right. There we go. Perfect. It's so cute. I love it. Okay. Now he has some flowers, so let's see which flowers. Oh, it's a girl bunny. She gets a bow, and then she gets all the flowers on her belly. All right. So let's do her little bow up here in the corner. Sorry, Mrs. Bunny, I was calling you a boy. I'm going to grab a brighter pink, and I think I want some purple for my flowers as well. So I'm going to grab some pink and maybe a little bit of yellow and some purple, and let's go ahead and grab teal and green. I think that should be enough colors to finish this out. We'll need orange for our carrots, but we can grab that in a second. Okay, so let's do it. Do you want to do a pink bow or a purple bow? What do you think? Pink or purple? Let me know. I think I'm going to do pink. Purple would look cute too, though. Let's do pink. All right. It's the first one I grabbed, so we're going to go with it. So we got a little pink bow for our little bunny. And I grabbed a tiny bit of red also, which I'm going to use to just kind of shade and highlight my bow here. So I'm going to put that red on. Here we go. And then I wiped my brush off on my towel, and I'm just going to come back over without adding any more. I actually am going to add a little more pink because that red's pretty powerful. You don't need very much red. We're just going to kind of keep it to the edges here. Just to give our bow a little bit of dimension and kind of brighten it up. We can always add some little white highlights and stuff too. All right. I think that looks pretty good. So there's our little bow. It's going to go in her hair. So cute. Do you think that's purple? Purple might have popped a little bit more. All right. We have green, yellow, pink, purple, and a white. So let's lay this out. So this is the base for our flowers. We got these 3. There's some flower centers. And then we've got these guys, and this one, and this one, and I don't know what those 2 pieces go to. There's more of them. Let me look at the picture. I think they're just on there. Okay. Okay. We're good. All right, so these are going to go on here, and then these guys just go on here. I think that's an extra piece, so we don't need that. This piece might go on the bow, actually. Let's just paint it pink. I was thinking it was an egg, but I actually think it goes on the bow. It's the center. That would make more sense. So it would be a very small egg compared to the other eggs we have over here. Okay. That will go right there. Perfect. Let's do one of these in pink. These are our little flowers. I should actually use my sponge. I should. All right. We'll clip this. We're going to do a pink flower. I don't know what is going on with my throat today. I feel like I have this like tickle. Go away. All right, I'm taking a tiny bit of red around the edge of my pink flower just to give it a little bit of dimension and interest. Okay, so there's that one. We're gonna do a purple flower. Let's grab this lavender color, and we're gonna grab a slightly darker purple too. And we'll do the same thing with the purple. We're going to load a little bit of dark on one side of our sponge and a little bit of light on one side of our sponge. So I've got dark and light, and I'm keeping the dark purple towards the edge of the flower. And we're just tapping up and down. Tap, tap, tap. All the way around. There's our purple flower. And what color should we do the other one? Maybe yellow? Maybe we'll do it in... You know what? Let's make this one a whole, like, much darker purple. Like that. And then we'll make this one really light purple. That's what we're going to try to do. So it's almost white, but it has a little bit of that purple tint around the edges. I like that. Okay. We're going to do this in green. So I'm just going to clip my sponge, and then we're going to grab green. And we'll paint this. Uh-oh, I picked up some red. How did I do that? It's all good. I'm just going to blend it together. I have to be careful because I like to tap the sponge off on the table, and sometimes I don't realize that some of this paint is wet. And then I pick up other colors. Pretty sure is what just happened with that red. It's all good. All right, so this is our greenery for our bunny. I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to grab just a little bit of white and just do just a few little white highlights in here, and then we'll come back with some green and just kind of blend that together. Just so it's got a little bit of a lighter color in a few spots. This is a nice springy piece, so I want it to be bright. I don't want it to be dark. All right, there is our greenery. It's going to go on our bunny, something like that, maybe like that. Okay, we need to do the rest of our flower pieces here. So I'm going to do the middles of the flowers in yellow and these little guys in yellow as well. And then we'll do these in the purples. So let's grab our yellow. Remember, anytime we're painting with yellow, it is a very translucent, transparent color. So you may need a couple coats if you want it to be really bright, or you can add a little bit of white to your yellow, and that gives it a little more base, a little more grab, and you won't have to do as many coats. I'm okay with this paler yellow because this is springy, so the paler yellow is okay. So I can just add a little white to it, and I still have that yellowish hue. It's just not super bright yellow, and I'm okay with that. Okay, and we're going to do these guys in purple. Oh, we'll clip our sponge again. I should have painted these when I painted the flowers, and I forgot about them. That's okay. Let's do these in purple. And then these are just like little, I don't know what they're supposed to be. Clustery flowers, maybe? I'm not sure. We're going to paint them too with our purple. All right. So there we are. Now I think we're ready to glue our bunny together the rest of the way. That camera. There we go. Get like it falling a little bit. Okay. So here's our bunny. We need to glue this piece on. What's our glue? Our shields. So E6000, just a dot, not a lot. These are going to glue down pretty easily. And you're running it along the back of your piece like you're putting on lipstick. Okay, and we're going to make sure that we put this up high enough that we're not down into this ledge where our piece is going to slide in and out. Okay, so I need it to be up pretty high because that little ledge needs to go into the shelf that we created. And then we've got our flowers. We should put that one in the middle. Do a big pink one, a little purple one. There's another purple one. These guys we're going to just kind of put around, like making a little flower arrangement here. Around in our leaves. These are the middles of our flowers. Oh, oh. There we go. And then we got these little purpley clusters. We'll just put them in there as well. Perfect. All right, and then we've got our little bow for our bunny. We're going to put that, should put it on this ear or this ear? We'll put it over here. Glue that down, and then the little middle of the bow. All right, so there's our little bunny piece. It looks precious. I love it. Love it, love it. Okay, set her to the side. The top of the porch cleaner gets this little carrot insert. So we can paint this up real quick. Let's grab our orange. And a sponge. And we'll paint these carrots. Orange is in that yellow family, so you're probably going to have to do a couple coats, or you can add a little white to your orange, and it will pop a little bit more. I kind of like that anyway. That kind of gives us a softer orange. Remember, you don't want to get too much paint down here on the ledge because then it will not slide in and out properly. Okay, and then these guys get glued on there as well, so we'll paint them up. See how I'm adding just that little bit of white to our orange? It just has a little more base, and now I don't have to come back and do a second coat if I don't want to. This is nice and bright. It's got a good coverage to it. Right, I'm going to grab a tiny bit of yellow and kind of on one side of my carrots, I'm going to blend a little bit of yellow in, almost like a highlight. So I just have a little bit of yellow on the corner of my sponge, and I'm just coming down one side of each of these carrots and blending that in. So it's just a very subtle difference, but it does give us just a little bit of a highlight. When you do highlights and shadows correctly, in my opinion, and I say that very loosely, but it's very it's just a very soft notice. You're really not, it's not like a line where it's super evident that you came in and highlighted or shadowed anything. And I say that loosely because there are no rules in art. You can do whatever makes your heart happy, in my opinion. Okay, there's that. We need to do the tops of our carrots in green. That sponge is sticky. Why? And that one I just threw in the floor. It's all good. All right. I'm going to clip this sponge. And we're going to grab our green. I think we need just a little bit more on our plate here. Maybe. Yep, that'll be enough. Okay. Green. I'm going to pick up a little bit of yellow as well. I want this to be nice, bright, springy green. For my carrot tops. Whoop, whoop. There we go. I feel like the lights keep flickering. Is it my imagination, or are you guys seeing that too? All right, there's those carrots, and then we got to do this one here. It might be that ring light. I don't know. Something is flickering, I feel like. And it may be me because I did have really bad migraine yesterday because of the storm, and sometimes it does weird things to my vision. Alrighty, there is our carrots. Super, super cute. Okay, let's dry those. And we'll glue them together. We got one piece left to do. I know this is a longer tutorial, but I think it's so fun. Okay, now we want to be sure when we add these carrots that we don't come down here onto this ledge, because this is the piece that slides in and out. Okay, so just be aware of that. Anytime you're putting these porch leaner pieces together, you want to be mindful of that bottom ledge on the top and the bottom piece, because it has to have that room to slide in and out, or you'll get it up, try to put it in there and it won't work. And that would be sad. So I'm going to do that one over here. I'm going to do these little guys over here on the edges. And I am just using this super stick fast glue right now so that we can test this here in a minute and you guys can see what it's going to look like. So there's our little bundle of carrots. Cute. I'll set him over here with Mr. Bunny. And we've got our Happy Easter sign left. So this is Happy Easter, and then it's got some Easter eggs. It has some Easter eggs that we can kind of put around on the sign. So we need to decide what color we want to do this face in. In the picture, it's a bright, bright yellow, which I feel like just doesn't go with this scheme. I may do it in a pale purple. Either a purple or a pink, I think would look pretty. Or should we do it in a soft teal? Let's do that. Let's do a soft blue. I want to keep with these soft colors. That's how I'm feeling today. So we're going to grab some of that blue and a little bit of white. That's the great thing about these kits, y'all, is you can change it up. You can make it your own. If you don't like the way it's painted in the picture, then paint it to what you like. Make it look great for your door or porch or whatever. For your decor. I know that sometimes people are intimidated and they feel like they can't change the colors or it needs to look like the picture, but you can make it however you want. I mean, the worst case scenario, if you paint it and you don't like it, it's just paint. You can let it dry and paint back over top of it. I just picked up black. I do not want to do that. Let's rinse that out. I did not put that blue in a good spot on that plate. I need to move it. Let's put some over here. I put it way too close to that pink and that black that are both wet. So I'm just adding a little bit of white to this to just kind of soften it. So we stick with these nice, soft, springy colors. Okay, this may need another coat. Let's dry it and see. Okay, yeah, we definitely need another coat. I'm gonna grab just a little more white. And just go back over all of this. Okay, either everybody's still sleeping today, or maybe we're all doing storm cleanup. I can't believe there's nobody hanging out here today. Hopefully you guys will catch the replay. I am later than I usually am, because it's almost lunchtime. Since we had the 2-hour delay this morning, kind of put me behind. All right. I saw something when I was doing this that I kind of like, so we're going to dry it, and I'm going to do a little bit of a dry brush of white on top of this pale blue. it was starting to do that in one side, but the other side was very, very blended. So rather than, I'm going to do the whole thing at once. So I want to make sure this is really dry. I'm going to take my brush, and I want this brush to be pretty dry as well. And then I don't need a ton of paint on it. So just a little bit of paint, and we're just going to kind of drag across this way. And then I'm going to drag, I am going to go this way as well. I got a lot of paint right there, but I'm okay with that. It's fine. And you just need super light pressure with that brush. You don't want to push down too hard. Just kind of dragging in both directions. Okay, I kind of like that. Now, we got to paint our Happy and our Easter. I think I'm going to do these in one of our pink or purple shades. Which one should we do? Let's do the purples. And we're going to do a little bit darker at the top. And a little bit lighter towards the bottom. Okay, and then let's do, I think we'll do this in the pink. I'm not even going to clean that sponge off. I'm just going to go for it. Whoop. There we go. I like that. All right, and we have our Easter eggs. I have no idea what colors to do these. All right, I guess we'll do a pink one. Maybe a purpley one. I think we should do a yellow. That yellow's gonna need another coat. Let's dry it real quick and we'll just go ahead and give it a second coat. There we go. All right, green. And I think we should do a blue one. And because I don't want it to blend in with that background, I did just pull out one more color of blue. But I'm just... There we go. That looks cute. That's a nice collection of spring colors. Okay, so we're going to put that on here, and we're going to glue this down. All right, right, so we got Happy, and then Easter. I am still just doing the double glue with the Stick Fast and the E6000 so that I can show you guys how to put this in. Okay, so you don't need to do this. You can use just your E6000. I'm just doing it for the sake of the camera, basically. Okay. Happy Easter, and then we've got our little eggs, and I might just do, how should we do these? Maybe like that. What do I think? Kind of like the little trio of eggs up here. And then maybe like 1, 2. I probably should put the pink one down there and the blue one up here. I'm sure we put them more on the sides. I kind of like them like that. All right, let's go for it. Just commit. Yep. I'm going to purposely offset these so I don't have to worry that they're perfect, that they're in the same spot. That looks cute. I like it. All right. Let's move all of this and switch this around. Okay. So here is our porch leaner. It's not all going to fit in the camera, but you get the idea. So your bunny goes down here and he just slides in that little shelf like so, and our carrots go up here and they slide in that little shelf. So they can slide in and out. See that? Sit right there. I put that carrot down just a little too far, but I think it's okay. Okay, and then your frame piece just pops in and out. Oh, 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 oh. The pieces are moving on me. It's just going to pop in and out of that frame. Just like that. Okay. So there she is in all her glory. Hopefully that helps anybody who is painting one of these. I'm going to take these down just in case there's a little bit of damp E6000 inside of there. I don't want them to get glued in there. So hopefully that helps. I hope that you had a good time painting with me today. I enjoyed being with you. You can check out our videos on our YouTube. Don't forget to join our brand new DIY Craft Kit of the Month box. It's a great value for $30. If you like these instructional videos, it's the perfect box for you. And if you want to grab a interchangeable porch cleaner, you can grab one on our website. All right. Y'all have a great day, and I will talk to you real soon. Bye, y'all.